Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
So I'd like to give an update because I can't remember which podcast I mentioned this on. I think it was just last week. But my daughter was starting to watch Mr. Plankton, and I was like freaked out that I was being a bad parent by like not giving her a heads up that and again, I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but like it's an emotional ending. Okay. And I was like, am I being a bad parent by not like preparing her for this? And before she finished watching that, she actually said to me, I know the ending. So I don't know how she found out. She probably saw a spoiler. I don't know.
Or was she good at knowing story like me?
Maybe she guessed it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, she cried at the end, but she loved it. And we kind of like had a talk about it, about, you know, what Mr. Plankton means, the symbolism. And she totally got it. And I have to tell you, she is in love with Udawan.
How could you not be?
I've never been more proud. I don't
Parenting win for sure.
I don't care about your report card. You have to love Udawan as much as I do. She absolutely loves him. She's like, he's the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my life. She loves him. And I finally downloaded Vicky now because for a while she didn't want to watch K-dramas, and I'm not gonna like. She can do what she wants. She can watch whatever she wants. But she's been on this like major K-drama kick. Now she is watching stuff I haven't seen, and she's trying to sell me on things.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And even today, we have to leave tomorrow. To go to Orlando.
Please tell her to watch Extraordinary You and then talk me into it.
I will. So we actually have to go to Orlando tomorrow for a field hockey tournament she's in. And we're like trying to pack. We need to get things packed. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go watch my show now. I'm like, no, we don't have time for that. So now she's got her own Viki account. She has an iQIYI account. She's been watching stuff on iQIYI as well. And then Netflix. She is all set up. She's good to go. Happiness is on her list. Happiness is because she loves zombies.
Yes.
And she's really excited, but it's just been kind of fun because I like it that she's sort of, I mean, yes, I don't think she maybe would have discovered K-dramas if I hadn't introduced them to her, but it's kind of fun that because she watched a few and then fell out of love of them. And now she's sort of like finding her way back to K-dramas and K-pop. She wanted to have a whole discussion about Stray Kids the other night. She wanted to know who my bias was. She has a bias of Stray Kids. It was really, really cute. So anyway, it's been fun. And all I'd say is she loved Mr. Plankton as much as we did and appreciated Udawan for the amazing human he is. So I feel like I did something right.
Did she finish?
Yeah, she finished Mr. Plankton.
Did she cry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but she's like, I loved it. It was like, she was really into it. So she's watching something now called Unlocked. I'm not sure. She's on she's on an MC1 kick, which connects to what we're talking about tonight.
Yes.
But she is also really big into MC1 because she obviously saw him in Squid Game 2. That's where she was like first introduced to him. And then she went and made a list of all his dramas. And I was like, you should watch Strangers from Hell. It's about a dentist who's like a cannibal. And she's like, okay, even though she has like major dentist trauma.
Seriously.
But anyway, she's so again, which leads into what we're talking tonight. She's also an MC1 fan. I might have to put this drama on her list that we're going to discuss.
I also want to talk about radicalizing children into what we like and say that after tonight, because tonight we're doing our pod and then we're doing our Patreon, and then I need to bustle home because I have hooked my 9-year-old on Singles Inferno.
Oh, yes.
You gotta get home. We gotta finish.
I love it. Oh, yay.
So not finished everything. We have, I think we're on episode we just finished 5 last night. And then 6 was an hour and 40 minutes. And I was like,
God.
What's your bedtime?
I'm behind. I'm going to have to catch up this weekend.
No, these episodes are long as hell. Like, I went to watch episode 5 and I was like, okay, I'll watch half of it, which I thought would be 30 minutes. No, it's an hour and a half long. So I barely watched like any of it. It's wild. Like, I don't know why they did that. Like, just make more episodes, but whatever.
Right.
Good for, honestly, Singles Inferno kicks ass. So
yeah, I gotta say,
I was gonna say Bronte's watching it, but she's not as like my Poppy is like my dating reality girl. She's like, yes, like so into it with me. And then like Nick started watching it last night. Nick was sitting there and Poppy's like, which one do you think is prettiest? Who do you think is the most handsome?
I love it. And I'm jealous. That's what I was gonna say, is that I'm jealous of both of you that you've got offspring who want to watch with you. I tried getting my daughter into it and she sat down and tried to watch Crash Landing on You with me and she was not into it. And because she was not into that one, she wouldn't try any others.
Yeah, that's hard.
Made me sad. My son at least has done, a couple with me. He has done All of Us Are Dead and he watched Train to Busan with me. You can see a little bit of a theme there. He has watched both Squid Games on his own because I didn't do Squid Game because scared of violence. But when he watches on his own, he watches with English dubbing.
Yeah. So my son has like a reading disability. So for him to read subtitles that fast it's just not really happening right now. So he watches English dubbed Squid Game. He's never watched anything else, but he will watch Squid Game. And it was funny because I drove him to soccer practice tonight and just randomly he's like, when does the rest of Squid Game come on? He's like ready. He's ready for it.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, MC1 can be our segue for tonight. Who doesn't love MC1, really?
God.
I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he's a fantastic actor.
Oh, yes. Just absolutely one of the top, in my opinion. So, we're doing a first episode study, and in full disclosure, I am just going to name, we're not going to get into it, but I'm just going to name that, like, when we record and you're listening, we just got through J-Hope ticketing, which really did, like, I am operating on my last brain cell at this point.
Same. 100%.
And so I do want to just like frame that for like this drama means a great deal to me. It's potentially even my favorite drama. It's definitely in my top 3. And I'm going to try to honor it the best I can, despite the fact that like I haven't eaten, I don't think today. No, I'm pretty sure I ate at like 7. And I'm also just like, I'm just operating on kind of like adrenaline and like 3 cheese balls I put in my mouth before I sat down.
Look, I have to say that I would not have scheduled our live today had I not been mistaken about ticket sale date. I thought it was tomorrow because I saw that the general public sale is tomorrow. And so I misread that for the pre-sale. I had an alarm set through Ticketmaster for the pre-sale. So it did text me at like 20 minutes before the queue. And I would have been a wreck had I not realized midday today that it was actually today. So apologies for me for scheduling our live right after this because I'm not ready for anything. Like anything at all today.
All right. So with that context, let's get smart. Let's get smart.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
We're doing a first episode study. So Megan began this, and the idea being she had a framework she was unpacking. Honestly, like I said, my brain is like a tiny little husk of a brain compared to what Megan's was when she unpacked I'm Not a Robot. So we're going to I still feel confident in our ability to get through this, but the framework is going to be a little less robust. But what did I choose? I chose Misaeng because look, I am trying to get it on the pod, y'all. I am trying to get it on the pod.
I'm going to finish and we're going to cover it.
Yeah.
There will be a deep dive.
Nobody has done it. Like you didn't do it with anybody else?
Nope, I did not. I have been waiting.
I will 20 finish. Episodes.
It is. And so have others. So the 3 of us watched the first episode of Misaeng. This is interesting because we're going to talk about tropes and stuff like that. But again, this is going to be interesting because Misaeng is also not a romance. And so there's tropes we can definitely talk about. And there's no romantic arc in the first episode, nor shall there be one. So it's just not a romance, which is also, I want to say, for those of you at home who are like, yeah, well, I'm already not interested. I am almost impossible to sell on content that's not romantic. Like if you're going to give me something and offer it to me and be like, it's not a romance, 99% of the time I'm going to be like, I'm out. Or at least I want there to be like, it doesn't have to be a pure definition of romance with the HEA, but I want like a love story, or I want like a relationship involved in some way, like a romantic relationship. It's almost impossible to sell me on something that has none of that. This still is in my top 3 without that, which is unusual. So I also just want to say, like, give that like something to chew on. Megan,
I can I just add though that I've watched up to episode 11, so I'm going to finish, but I'm just saying, so I have seen a good bulk of the drama, and I want to say that to me this is still massively relationship based. So it might not be romantic relationships, but the drama absolutely hinges on interpersonal relationships among people, complicated and deep and nuanced. And so while they're not romantic, I still feel like I'm getting some of the same feelings I get from a romance, in the fact that I'm still seeing these relationships develop. Yeah. Relationships that are still tropey, even if they're friendship or mentorship. There's a lot of different relationships.
And if you enjoyed something like Hospital Playlist, or you enjoyed Our Blues, I would say that those are like very loose comps. But this is not a vignette show, but I would say that like what you hit the nail on the head with, I think, Megan, well, was, it's not a show on romantic relationships, but it is a show about relationships, and it's very highly relational. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I'm going to give you the Asian Wiki, because we always love to go to the Asian Wiki for the overview blurb. And then we're going to take a quick look at the log line that is kind of floating around for it. So Jong-gu Ray, played by Im Si-won, played the board game Go since he was a child. Playing the game was everything to him, but he failed to become a professional Go player. Now he is thrown into the real world. By an acquaintance's recommendation, Jong-gu Ray is able to begin work for the trading company One International as an intern. On his first day, Jong-gu Ray meets his boss, Oh Sang-sik, who's played by Ing Sung-min, fabulously, I might add, and Gu-ray struggles to work at his new company. The logline is essentially very similar that I found, which is a disillusioned former Baduk player, which is Go is another word for it, joins a corporate trading company as an intern, where he and his fellow contract workers struggle to survive in the ruthless world of office politics while learning valuable lessons about life growth and human dignity. So, thoughts on the Asian Wiki blurb or the logline, and any tropes that you can identify?
So I just have to say that I'm like shaking my head as you're reading these, and like these are not bad as far as describing what the drama is about, but from either one of these, I would never watch the drama based on the blurb of the logline. Never in a million years. Because I was talking to somebody yesterday, a writer, well, a friend who wants to write but hasn't written yet, and talking about the back cover blurb of a book and the idea of stakes, right? So whenever I am writing a new book or thinking about writing a new book, I will write the back cover blurb first before I have a book, just to see if I can come up with stakes, right? Like, what is the stasis of the main character? What is the catalyst that, spurs them to action? And then what's at stake? Why do I care? And I feel like that's what's missing here. Like, what's at stake? Why do I care? And I'm not saying that the drama doesn't have stakes, but I'm saying from these log lines, from the log line and from the blurb, I don't get enough stakes that I would be like, yes, I'm going to watch one of these. I mean, we do get like a fish out of water trope for sure. Like, that's evident. And I love a fish out of water trope. And so that is a plus for me. But otherwise, I'm sitting here like, all right, what's the conflict? Why do I care?
Megan?
Yeah, I was going to say fish out of water is the trope that I get from the log line. I do think it's difficult to put the stakes of this drama in I get why it's hard to put it in a log line. To a degree, I think part of what makes the stakes in Misaeng so high is the fact that it's in Korea. that to a degree, like, just from what the limited knowledge that we know of like Korean culture and the business structure and the competition among students, the competition among interns. So we see that this is to a degree for this young baduk player who that's like all he knew, and then he's entering this like brand new world where he really has to make it because he doesn't have like anything to fall back on.
There's your stakes right there.
Yeah, I mean that's the stakes, and I feel like
it's a sink or swim mentality.
It really, I like that. It is kind of sink or swim. I like that. See, we're talking ourselves into. I mean, because that is basically.
Yeah, I'm not
stakes.
saying there aren't stakes. I'm just saying from the way this is written, my Western brain is picking up on the stakes.
I really feel like, I think that I do think a log line could tell the stakes better. I absolutely do. I think it's hard because that's not like the only point of the drama, but to a degree it is,
Yeah, I would say a big trope I would give it is an underdog drama. It's 100%.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And
I didn't think about that.
Like underdog is something that can be, relatable and kind of puts in immediately the stake because you're all of a sudden pitted against something else. Like, why are you the underdog? How are you disenfranchised? How do you not hold power? What are you up against? And then what is it that you need to overcome? And what are the systems that are coming back against you?
Love that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's talk about, so I'm going to take, because the very first scene of the episode is very, very short. So I'm going to kind of take like the first two scenes because really they're both outside of Korea and they kind of meld together, even though they're two completely different countries. And I do want to name that. So let me just lay it out because normally the first scene is like 30 seconds. And then we move into kind of what you would consider to be like the real first scene, if that makes sense. So we start not in Korea. And Megan, now that you're at episode 11, I'm fascinated because we do come full circle in this. And I will still say, I don't want to say too much, but where we begin and where we end is definitely not Korea. And it's in an interesting choice.
Okay.
So we are in Jordan. Petra, to be exact, like full Indiana Jones vibes. Like this is Petra from Indiana Jones, where we begin. We have candles, we see someone walking, and a narration begins, a male voice. It's Im Si-won's character. And he says, a path is not simply for walking. Its purpose lies in moving forward and improving oneself. A path that fails to do this is not a path. We then have a time skip of some undeterminate time, but realistically pretty close, where we are now in the streets of Cairo. So again, Jordan is not Egypt, but I do want to just link that we're still in kind of like the Middle East and we're still kind of like, there's no context being given to like what we're doing. We're just jumping in.
Yeah.
And for something that has such a meditative, like these log lines are kind of cerebral. We're talking kind of, we're jumping into hardcore action.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I just have to say that.
Yeah. So we begin with a full chase scene.
Mm-hmm.
Im Si-won is chasing a man. We do not know why. It is an intense chase. It doesn't appear to be a violent chase. Like it doesn't feel like Im Si-won's trying to kill him, but like this man does not want to be caught. They're running through cafes, food's flying, they're jumping around, blah, 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 blah. We finally get like one of them to run. Well, we finally get one of them onto a roof. He jumps off a roof, hangs on a window across the alley and like pulls himself inside, looks back at Im Si-won and openly mocks him after like recovering from the shock of what he just did and sticks his tongue out at him. And then his face shifts because you see Im Si-won backing up, he's going to go for the jump too. And then as he flies into the air, we kind of hit pause and we hear Gure, or we hear the protagonist again say, the path is open to everyone, but not anyone can walk it. End scene of the opening. So how effective is this first scene for you?
Can I add also, I mean, then it cuts to him like washing mirrors in a bathhouse, right?
Correct. So we're back in Korea and we're back to like the doldrums. So we open with the high action, badassery, and then we're like zoom, and here he is. It says 2012, and he's in a bathhouse as like the like grunt worker.
So I have only watched episode 1. Okay. I've only watched episode 1. So I finished the scene and I'm like mental note to self, look up a recap when I'm done with this episode because what the fuck just happened? But also I wanted to be like, Leah, why didn't you sell this to me with like, there's an Indiana Jones vibe to it? Because I would have been down immediately.
Because there's not at all.
No, I know. But it was like, I was like, what is this first scene? So yeah, I mean, I was intrigued enough that I was like, WTF at the end. And I did, after episode 1, go and read a recap, which did nothing for me. So all it does is give me the hope that like, this is what Gure is going to be aspiring to at the end of the drama.
Yeah, I thought I was on the wrong drama. I was like,
I checked. I'm like, is this Misaeng?
Yeah, I had to like double check I was on Misaeng because Leah's like, Leah told me this was an office drama. Like, what the hell is going on? But I mean, sure, it intrigued me. I gotta be honest. I kind of forgot about that scene though, because the rest of the drama is just not like that I totally forgot about it. I'm sure I would I would remember it like if it comes back full circle. But when I think about Misaeng and when I thought about the first episode, that wasn't what I thought about. You know what I mean? But I thought, but yeah, sure. I mean, if you're gonna sell me an office romance where you're not telling me the stakes, that's probably a really effective way to start, though. You know, like throw me into the deep end, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, for me, I was very disoriented when I first saw it. I was like, what? And I was like, I thought this was meant to be like a cerebral drama. I almost was like, no, I did not. Like, as excited as you were, Amy, I was the opposite. I was like, I did not sign up for Indiana Jones. No, thank you. What is happening? And I will say that someday when we talk about it, we'll talk about what happens here because I don't know how I feel about it, but it is what it is. So I do want to kind of throw out so we're going to talk about what we see as the GMC for Gure in episode 1. But I want to first talk about a couple things that are kind of like because a lot of context, this is a drama that is very Korean. And so there's going to be a lot of context that we're missing from the West unless we're like looking up some language or looking up some word meaning to kind of get deeper things. And I'm not trying to say this to be like, oh, I'm so smart because I like looked up a couple words. It's just like you kind of have to get some of this. And so 2 things that I think are kind of important to know going into it is what Misaeng means, which it's a term for a move in the game Go or Baduk, which obviously has a lot of importance to this drama, given that Im Siwon played Baduk with aspirations to playing it professionally. A lot like we would have like he is like the unsuccessful version of our Reply 1988, hero.
Right,
Tech.
Right.
Yeah, Tech. So he is like, that's where he was going and he just didn't land it. We can't all be the champion of the game. And so Misaeng is a term. So I have played Baduk very badly on apps just to kind of like, because after Misaeng, I was curious. But what the term means is an incomplete life. And in the drama, it kind of signifies like the incompleteness of our lives or the fact we're kind of on this never ending journey and that like renewal of self. And then also Gure's name, because there's a lot of reactions throughout the drama to Gure's name. And you'll see people kind of often be like, your name is what? Like, huh? And so I looked it up and essentially Gure it kind of just means like, yeah, or like, okay, or right. Like, it's just kind of like,
I didn't know that.
Or like, really? Like, that's the name.
Yeah, I
so
didn't
it's just
either.
kind of like an odd name. So people are constantly in the drama being like, what's like, I don't get your name. And so it's kind of this name that's like, really? And like, I don't know. So I think those are kind of 2 things that are helpful in grounding a little bit of the GMC with that idea of like the incomplete life. And then also the name to kind of like round it out in the first episode that we would have completely missed if we were just watching it, cold. So my question is, what do you think of the setup of his GMC? Or do you even think it's clear in episode 1?
I absolutely think it's clear in episode 1. Like I said, like the blurb would not have gotten me into this drama, but episode 1, I was like, absolutely, I know what's happening here. And like you already said it, this idea of the underdog, like, and Megan too, like it's a sink or swim situation. Like he wanted to be a professional Go player, could not devote enough time to bettering himself at Go because he was working odd jobs while his father was sick. Like he was the breadwinner for the family. And then once his father was gone, it was too late. So now he gets this opportunity to be an intern, like a special kind of like slide in under the door type of situation where he gets to be an intern at this big company. And nobody thinks he belongs there and nobody wants him there. And his boss even was like, sell me on why I should let you stay because you have zero credentials for this position.
No.
And it is an absolute like sink or swim scenario of he cannot figure out how to upskill himself quickly enough to keep his head above water. Then he's going to be washing mirrors in bathhouses for the rest of his life and being a night driver because he's doing everything other than, what he wants to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that sums it up really well. And I think the first episode does a really, really good job of setting it up. I think if you're going to have, this is, sorry to compare it to Hospital Playlist, but this is one thing Hospital Playlist did terribly is they didn't give you in the first episode. I'm sorry.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it's a bad
we have to do this. We have to do that first episode because
yes, there's a big cast in Misaeng, and while Gu-rei is the main character, there is a big cast and they have their own goals, motivations, and conflicts. But as an audience, like we are used to kind of focusing on one person. And you kind of want at least one person that's kind of that's on your hero's journey. Like as a writer, we call it the hero's journey. And that's what Misaeng gives you. So they give you a big cast, but they also give you at least one person to root for. You have to care. You have to care. And even if it's only one character, they do a really good job about making you care about at least this one character. I think they do a good job with the female character. Mm-hmm. As well. Hold on, what's her name? An Yang-yi, played by Kang So-ra. I love her in this drama. But they also do a really good job with they do a good job with most of the characters. But it's like, thank you for focusing on at least one person to care about. We're simple creatures. You can't do too much in one episode, And I feel like they did it perfectly right, setting up Gu-rei. And also, MC Wan is just a really great actor to root for. Like he's so good at being that central role without overpowering the rest of the cast.
Yeah. I mean, he can do so much with just his eyes.
Yeah.
I immediately see him and it's funny because he's remarkably handsome. I mean, he was an idol. Like he is a stunningly handsome person. And yet just by how he kind of carries himself and holds himself, he can look so downtrodden. And he did this so well in Strangers from Hell as well. Yeah. Like he can just look pathetic feels cruel, but just kind of like, I think downtrodden is really the better word.
It's like pathetic, but also earnest at the same time, which I don't know how he pulls that off. Like he's covered in like squid guts and has just ruined this beautiful suit that his mom bought him. And he still is like, I got to get back to the office and prove myself. And he's raring to go for it. But also knows that he was bullied as well. How does he convey that? Like this sort of sad sack, poor me, but also total earnest to do his best.
Yeah. Yep. He's kind of like a kicked puppy who's going to keep coming back.
Yeah. And I would say his goal is like to make it as a contract employee. Like he's got to make this work. His motivation is because he's got to make something of himself. Like his goal that he originally had does not exist. Like it's not going to be a reality for him. So this is kind of like a make or break. Like, can he, being a salary man in a company is something seen as like respectable. Like, can he do that? And the conflict is he has no education that is on the same level. Like he's outmatched educationally and just life experience and kind of social and economically with everyone else that's being brought in the same role. And so those are the conflicts, is that he is like that fish out of the water underdog to the system where he shows up, with a high school degree essentially, and nothing but like some willingness to spend a lot of time in a freezer. Yeah. With a suit that does not fit him.
No.
This baby, I'm like, let me adopt.
I know.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, I just want to go to, so like we've said, this is not a romance, but is there any good butter for you?
Look, I think I'm still the hardest sell on this drama because Megan, started and was already like 11 episodes in. Leah, obviously, it's one of your top 3. And so I sat down to watch this and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be on the same page as you guys. And I am. I just want to put that out there right now. I am. Because I would say this drama is very quiet and very slow and very good.
Mm.
And I don't understand that. And it's got to be the butter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the butter is that you are immediately emotionally connected to Gure. I think it, and I don't know if it's MC1. I don't know if it's his portrayal. I don't know if anybody could have been Gure and done this to me because I have not had my MC1 moment yet. You guys have, right? I have not. I didn't love Run On. I liked Summer Strike, but didn't finish it. And not because I didn't like it, but because I went on to other dramas. I did not watch Strangers from Hell, nor will I ever watch Strangers from Hell. I'm still waiting for my MC1 moment. And I think this is it. And I don't know if I can articulate it, how immediately I was connected to him. The second that he put on that too big suit and walked into this office building, I wanted to take care of him. I wanted everything for him. And then when you see how everybody treats him and he just like you said, a kicked puppy and he keeps coming back for more. Why is that butter? I don't know, but it is.
Yeah, for me, and I don't think this is just because I watched 11 episodes. I do think I got this from episode 1. This relationship between his manager, Mr. O, and Gure is a lot. And I think even from the first episode, you can see that Mr. O is like, this kid sucks. I can't believe I'm saddled with this kid who doesn't know how to do shit. He doesn't know how to use a copier. But then even by the end of the first episode, Mr. O starts to see that there are traits in Gure that are beneficial to the company, but also he's starting to see who Gure is, that that he has traits that make him a good man. And I think you get that already from episode 1. And to me, that is the best butter. It's the best butter of episode 1, but it's even better as the drama goes on. But it's right there in the beginning. And I love that so much. I really like mentor type relationships. And they gave that to me in one. And look, I don't love bully storylines, but I wouldn't say this is bullying. This felt a little bit like hazing. Which is
they called it hazing, but it was really shitty.
Yeah, right. It was bullying. But it was and I don't know if this is butter, but there was something about Misaeng that I'm not going to say PTSD because that's an actual diagnosis, but I get actual trauma watching Misaeng and remembering cubicle jobs that I've had. There's nothing wrong with cubicle jobs, but I can smell the carpet of the cubicle. I can remember sitting at my desk in new intern jobs. I've had internships. And I can remember sitting down and your superiors are so busy that they don't have time to train you, but they expect you to know things, but you don't know what you're doing. It's absolutely terrifying. But I had a safety net. I had a family. I had MC1 doesn't really have a safety net. He has his mom, but he's got to make this work. He knows he has to make this work. It's terrifying because he doesn't know what he's doing. The fear he must feel inside, boiling in him. And I don't know. There's something about again, I don't know if this is butter, but I really internalized a lot of what MC1 was feeling, or Gure.
And how he carries his fear is interesting because in many ways he shows up so impassive. And I guess one of the reasons I have a real affinity to him is working in higher ed. I'm often working with students who have a lot of imposter syndrome or usually like if you're coming to see me often, there's like something wrong happening. Like, you know, occasionally I'm seeing people that are fine, but a lot of times like you're seeking out like kind of like student support because like something's not working great. And sometimes I see students, like today I met with a student and they can appear so impassive and they can sit there and just almost seem like they don't have a lot of feeling about whatever's happening. And then if you're successful, like, and I guess this is where like I aspire with like Manager O in so many ways. Like I wish I had a Manager O and I wish I could be a Manager O because again, we're only in the first episode, so we can't unpack, but he becomes an amazing mentor who's fallible, but like you really do. It's not Ted Lasso-ish, but like there's just something about how they like show up and see the world that made me like feel like I became a better human for watching the show. And so yeah, I see students who are in some sort of flux or failing, and they just have that same impassive facade that I feel like Gure has, where meanwhile inside it must just be like chaos, but they just show up so like quiet with their too big suit, like, okay, I gotta make this work. And something else that's like butter for me is so there's an August D or Suga BTS lyric that's really impactful to me. And it really fits to me, the like Gure and just kind of Misaeng in general. And so I just looked it up. It's really short, but it's essentially, it's from the song Burn It. And it's, I hope you don't forget that giving up decisively also counts as courage. And I think that that's a really amazing quote to sit with sometimes, because there's so much push in our society that like, you're going to overcome a failure, you're going to win, you're just going to keep pushing. But sometimes, honestly, just figuring out that like whatever path you were on is just not the path, and just being like, that's not my path right now. And so like how he begins with like Baduk is kind of like, that path is done. Like there's a huge amount of courage that comes from like, he's not even going to work at the Baduk club. Like he's going to pivot to something completely different. And that like giving up decisively is it is a very hard thing to do. And so I think that that courage to put something that was so overwhelming into such a passion and as something so important. And in some ways you could see it as tragic to give it up, but if you could also reframe it, you could say it's tremendously heroic.
There's also something about his character that I feel is unique and kind of hard to act. I think that's why I find this role so admirable, because he has pride but not an ego in the way he's approaching his job. Like he's like, I have pride in myself, meaning like what I'm willing to do and how hard I'm willing to work, and I have confidence that I can work as hard as I can at this. But he doesn't do it with an ego. He's willing to take criticism. He's willing to take people who want to shame him, and he's not going to let that set him back, because he knows that he has like a greater goal, which is, you know, he can't. I love that he didn't let like little nitpicks get to him. Like I tell you what, if what happened to me happened to him in the first episode, I would
if what happened to him happened to you.
Oh yeah, sorry. If what happened to him happened to me, I would be at that age, at like 21, I would be in a fetal position crying. Like
He's
I
26.
would not.
He's 26 or 7.
It doesn't.
It's
You know
6.
what? You know what? If that happened to me now, I would still be in a corner crying. I would not. I'm so like. So I guess watching that, like the mental fortitude that he withstood in the first episode, I just like, how can you not then be like, I got to see what else this guy is going to do at the company? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Okay. So just opening this up a little bit more broadly, this is like more of like a thinky question. I mean, it's not that thinky, but you know, what role do networks and social capital play in maintaining power imbalances between privileged groups and underdogs, kind of just like in the world for like things you've experienced? And what makes this drama feel like it matters in 2025?
Because it's all about who you know. It really is, especially in the business world. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I just switched positions in my company, just to give like a really like microcosm of an example, but I just switched positions in my company and it ended up being a promotion. I've never had a promotion in my life because I was a teacher for 21 years and then moved to a cubicle job. But I would not have gotten this position had I not worked with my current boss, who's a VP at my company. Had I not worked with her on a training that she was leading, and I created all the assets for the training. And had I not worked with her on that training when I was on the training team, she never would have approached me for this position. And the way that she did approach me is we happened to be sitting together at a table for a celebration for our these group of people who went through our project management boot camp, and then they had a graduation. She didn't come to the first graduation. She came to the second one. And she's like, I don't even know why I'm here. Because she wasn't part of the boot. Well, she was part of it for a little bit, but not for much of it. But we just happened to be sitting at the same table eating lunch. And she just randomly asked me about my writing background, because my job now is much more writing based. And had that not happened, had she not known me personally, and had I not had this sort of in with a VP, I would not have gotten this promotion. And it was all about who you know. And I never would have known her had we not happened to work on this one thing together. And it's interesting because I look at, all of, we see a lot in K-drama and they're not, this doesn't happen in episode 1 of Misaeng, but we see a lot of, in the corporate world, in K-drama in general, a lot of underhandedness and, some metaphorical backstabbing because it's so hard to get ahead. And it is all about who can prove themselves. But you got to prove yourself to the right person. It's got to be who you know. And that's how Gurei even gets in the first place. It's because of who he knows. Nobody knows how he got hired until the end of the episode. Why is he even here? It's because of who you know.
Yeah. And I think also just that idea of the system's just not set up. I think that I'm going to speak from a uniquely American perspective because of where we live.
As we all are.
Yes. Is sometimes I feel as if so there's something I've always appreciated about America, but I'm also very cynical about with America, which I think there is that optimism. I also lately have felt that's a lot more toxic and problematic, but the sense that there was kind of it's hard to articulate almost kind of what it is, but the sense that you can, and it's good and bad at the same time. It kind of just depends, so many things. But the sense that I don't want to be pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but this idea that we can make it, it's this place where there's a promise to and I think also being in California has this a lot too, of things are being made, things are being developed, you can be a part of it. There's doors that are opening and you just need to be in the right place and they can open up and they can happen. And there's an element of truth to it. And there's also a very big lie to this. And there's this idea that because it is not equity doesn't exist here. And so, I mean, I love that I don't want to get into politics too hard. Well, I always will politics are the life. We've just, we have the federal government now being we're not going to have DEI anymore. DEI is a bad thing. So we're going to have all these things the federal government's going to do that's not real to how the world works. So DEI, like it or not,
can you say what DEI is for people who might not know?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I'm going to use the lens of equity. And I'm going to say that the idea that there's this merit, this idea that you want to say that our society is merit based is another pretty lie that kind of feeds into what I was just talking about, that feels it's there's something attractive in it, but it's also a fundamental lie, which is if you're good enough and smart enough and work hard enough, these doors are going to open up and happen to you. However, if your income is where you live, who your family knows, what color your skin is, who you choose to love. There are so many things that are impacting your equity. And so that merit-based, when people are pushing that merit thing, as I've gotten older and wiser, I've started to be it's actually the people who are benefiting from that the most who are pushing that as a thing. Mm-hmm. Or people who are coming from generational wealth themselves. Elon Musk did not just one day wake up in a hut and be I'm real smart and working real hard. And by golly, I'm going to become the world's richest man. Fuck no. That man was boosted from go with generational wealth. And that's how the world works. And so I think with Gurei, like we're seeing somebody who really, while they're an underdog and while they're kind of a little hapless in like how they show up, could they be as sophisticated and kind of canny as like Kong Han Newell's character is introduced? Like you just see them for a little bit, but they're clearly somebody who's come from like a different socioeconomic group. Maybe not the kindest, warmest person, but also, you know, they're not horrible, bad people, no. But they've been given chances that are different and they present different and they are very protective of what makes them feel a little special, especially when looking at a Gurei character.
Yeah. I like I agree. Like he's protective. He's like, wait a minute, you don't belong here. I know you don't belong here, and I do.
Yeah.
And he like wants to get to the bottom of how Gurei sort of quote beat the system. You know what I mean? He's like,
because he did. Because again, that like kind of circles back. Like, could anyone in Gurei's circumstances have gotten that internship? Absolutely not.
Oh, Gurei had that one little leg up.
Yep.
Even still, we see all the other things diced against him. But yes, if he did not have that one connection, he'd be back at another sauna scrubbing someone else's like bathroom for like, you know, minimum wage.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I feel like Misaeng is almost like, as I started it, I'm like, dang, I got to rewatch it this year because I really feel like this feels like it's hitting like a good 2025. Like it's hitting me right where I want to be. And also, again, seeing like that manager and like, where are we lifting people? Where are we helping? Where are we thinking like outside structures? And their character, like as Megan's seen by episode 11, they're beginning to like, it's how we have these systems and structures. So when we say it's like an office and it feels so dry to be like, it's an office drama, it's like, how do we have these structures that kind of like mark out so much of our day and our life and our dreams and our hopes? And then who's disrupting within those systems? And how do they do it? And how do they make it more human? These like how do you make these inhumane places human?
This is the way. Okay. So I'm only on episode 11. So, and I know this is this episode 1 study, but whatever. I just want to say about this though, is that the thing about Misaeng is that I don't really want to call it an office drama because the business that supports the company they all work for, I still don't understand what they do. And it doesn't matter. The business and what they do is merely a prop to give the characters conflicts to deepen their relationships with each other. That's really it. Like there's all these like dumb little like office issues that I don't understand and it doesn't freaking matter. Like it doesn't matter because all that matters is how they conquer problems. And the problems are universal. And the interpersonal relationships are universal. Everything about the drama feels interpersonal, meaning like it's all about how we deal with each other, and then also personal. Because I feel like as I'm watching this drama, I've had relationships like this throughout my working life, throughout my personal life. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that that's why I like this drama so much and why I almost hate to call it an office drama because it's maybe at the core, it's an underdog drama. Maybe that's what we should start calling it.
It's an underdog life. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great sell to call the office a prop. Like I like that a lot. Because that means really that means as I move forward, I'm not going to anticipate any land deals or slush funds.
I mean, I don't think there's slush funds yet. There will be things that you're like, I don't even understand.
And I don't think you're kind of meant to.
It's kind the of backdrop.
Like gobbledygook. Like you're kind of like, I don't really get what you're talking about. But honestly, either does Gurei.
Yeah, it's absolutely gobbledygook. And it doesn't matter because you don't have to understand. You get, whenever an issue arises with that they have to work through, you get the stakes. You understand the stakes somehow. Even while not understanding or maybe other people understand the office issue. Yeah. I don't. There's like Russians and there's
you don't have to worry about what one trading company is trading in. That's but here's a quick question because we're going to be at time fairly soon, and so I have got 2 questions I want to hit before we're done. One is, have you ever personally been an underdog, and kind of what was the context and how did that go for you?
I think all 3 of us have been in the same way as new writers way back, like 11 years ago, coming up on my 11th publishing anniversary. I was a teacher, a high school teacher who had never written a book in her life. I had read a ton of them. And I don't know what possessed me to think that I could write a whole book, first of all, and then put it out in the world and somebody would print it and sell it. That was a really weird time. Like I'm interested to hear how you guys felt about, your publishing journey. I know we were with each other for a lot of it, but like the very, very beginning, we weren't. Like when I finally had that sort of inspiration, and I won't, get totally into that, but like, hey, I think I could do this. The whole time that I was writing my first book, I was like, how dare you? Like, who do you think you are? That you like, look at all these books that you love, that you are, trying to emulate with the first book that I wrote, because the first book that I wrote is not published. But like, look at all these books that you love and all of these great writers that have inspired you. Like, what gives you the fucking audacity to think that you can do something like this? And so I don't know if that's like a true underdog story, but like, if you look at the publishing world, like even today, I still feel it like all the time today. Like every time I'm going to do something new, I'm like, okay, but I also have to like swim upstream against all of these other great writers who are doing these great things. And I think what we learn as we go through it more and more is that there are plenty of seats at the table. And that was not something that I thought back then. But I honestly think, like, coming from zero writing background to start and to just say, I'm going to try this thing that so many others have tried and failed, that so many others have been too scared to try, and that so many have tried and succeeded well beyond I may ever succeed. And I did it anyway. And I'm not saying that I'm not gonna diminish. Like, I did a cool thing that I didn't think I could do, and that I think a lot of other people thought I couldn't do, but I did.
I would say, like, I still feel like
the
underdog. Like, I still feel like
all the time.
Yeah, I still feel like I have yet to not be the underdog. Like, I kind of feel like I'm still on my underdog path. Does that make sense? Kind of in what I want to do. I mean, I will tell you, underdog sports stories are my like Rudy. Hello, like
I love Rudy.
Like my kryptonite.
And yet it took you so long to watch Ted Lasso.
I know. Well, I finally did, and it was incredible. But I'm just saying, like, underdog sports stories are, oh my God, my favorite.
Yeah, for me, I'll just skip to one really quickly that was impactful for me. And it was when I was in my very early 20s. I got a job working at the Minnesota State Capitol for KARE 11 News, for any of you Minneapolis folks, with Carrie Miller, who is now a Minnesota Public Radio journalist, but at the time was a political reporter for KARE 11. And I literally just I would like kind of gurate it a little bit. Like I had no journalism background. I had an interest in politics at the time. And so that was where I was coming from. I was just kind of interested in like the political process, but nothing to do with media or journalism. And I answered, like, I think I even like found it in the paper. Like, there wasn't like internet jobs so much. And so I went in, interviewed, had no idea how to do anything media, anything journalism. They hired me, luckily. And everyone else that was kind of in like a legislative assistant role with media were like people who were like, they wanted to be like anchors and they wanted to like be on camera. And I like did not at all. I was just interested in like being there. And like my first day on the job, I had like a microphone and I'm like beneath the governor as they're being sworn in, with like jostling with people I like see on TV or listen to on public radio with like my little mic. My job was not to ask questions. My job was to do shit. My job was to show up and hold a mic and get sound, or to like sit in committee meetings and be like, that looks like something interesting, or nothing happened in that. Don't worry. Best, honestly, outside of writing, best job I've ever had.
That's awesome.
I worked for somebody who was just like incredibly professional, a strong woman, had become famous for going head to head with Jesse Ventura when they were the governor, and had like a lot of like hostile media, like, asked them tough questions and like were in the hot seat. And I just felt like I learned a lot from that experience and was grateful for it, despite having like, that was not my career path. I feel like I gained a lot of confidence in it.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah,
I will say real quick, just because this made me think, what you said made me think a little bit of, I went to college for journalism. But I didn't I just feel like when I entered college, like people knew other people. Like I feel like I didn't know anyone. I didn't have like an in with professors. And I feel like there were a lot of people that did. They had where I went to college, there were a lot of alumni that went. So it seemed like people already knew people. But I was determined to, I was also a little bit like Gure. I was determined to kind of prove myself. I wanted to do well. I thought I was smart and at what I did. Not smart at math, but you know what I'm saying. And I really wanted to prove myself. And I really got close to the professor there who seemed to like champion me. And I know there were a lot of people who were gunning for editor-in-chief of the school newspaper. And by the time I was a senior, I was elected editor-in-chief. And I think a lot of it was, I felt like an underdog. So I think there were people who thought they were going to get it, that thought they were like kind of a shoo-in. And I think I kind of like slipped under the radar and made editor-in-chief. And it's still one of my greatest like accomplishments that I managed to score that. So
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I think, hopefully what I want, watch Misaeng. Let's do it this year. 2025 is the year for Misaeng. I do think that this is a drama that is uniquely suited to this point in time.
I'm in. Like episode 1 sold me. It sold me. So I just want to say that, like, one episode and I'm sold.
I want to say that I was really scared to watch episode 1. I was scared because I was like, what if I hate it?
Yeah,
because this is one of Leah's favorite dramas, and I was like, what if I don't like it? This is gonna. But I wanted to like it, and I wanted to give it a fair shot. And I want to say, in my opinion, and I said this to Leah after I watched episode 1. It truly was one of the best first episodes of a K-drama I've seen. It was an excellent first episode. It's bookended so well. The end of the first episode was so impactful for me. I kind of watched a little bit today to like remind myself, but because at the end he had been through hazing, he had been like just told he's a moron. Like, I mean, it was rough him starting this job, and he says, "Oh, I'm going back to the office after being covered in squid guts."
Yeah,
he says, "I got to go back to the office. I have to finish work," and that's when Mr. O was like, "What do you?"
He's like, go home, rest.
He's like, go home. Like, I think you've worked hard enough. And you kind of have the voiceover as MC Wan's walking back to the office. And he's like, no, I didn't work hard enough. And that's why I'm here. Because I didn't work hard enough. And that's not going to happen again. And it really gets you because that's what he thinks. He's like, I failed already because I didn't work hard enough. And he says, and that's why I was thrust into the world. Because he had lived this like sheltered Baduk life. And now he's thrust into like a cutthroat internship of a trading company in South Korea. So thank you, Leah, because it truly is a special drama. And amazing first episode.
Yay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to do it. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Annyeong.
See you next time. Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!